Well, well, well. Good morning. It is with great sadness that I have to report that Quincy Jones has passed at the age of 91. Now, with everything that's going on in Hollywood, allegedly, Quincy Jones was supposed to have been the alleged leader of some of this horrific behavior that has been going on in Hollywood. But, you know, allegedly, Kevin Campbell, but it was all alleged. But let's see what ABC News has to say. And of course, we're going to have an ad playing.
As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, an update to a story that we first brought to you 2 years ago. It's a reminder of the power that music has in transforming lives and the artists harnessing that energy from behind bars. Eric Abercrombie was only 17 when convicted of attempted murder and sent to San Quentin prison. But
Wait a minute, hold on.
his gift for music and his tell us about the show, E.
Absolutely. So for starters, The Last Mile is a nonprofit based in...
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Again, Quincy Jones has passed at the age of 91. You know, he helped Michael Jackson, a lot of people. But again, he was part of the alleged video the alleged bad behavior that went on in Hollywood. So, hold on, you guys. CNN has reported that Quincy Jones has passed. Man, hold on. There's another ad playing. There is no sleep. Woo!
As the man behind some of music's most memorable hits, Quincy Jones was one of the most Grammy-nominated artists of all time.
When you do what you love, it's not work.
Born Quincy Delight Jones Jr. on the south side of Chicago in 1933, Jones found his passion for music when his family moved to Seattle in the late 40s. Jones took a job with the Lionel Hampton Band as its trumpet player. He worked steadily with musical greats like Sarah Vaughan, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Dinah Washington, and his friend Ray Charles.
We didn't think about money or fame ever.
During the 60s, Jones began writing film scores for movies such as The Pawnbroker, In Cold Blood, and In the Heat of the Night. He even crafted iconic themes for the TV shows Ironside and Sanford and Son. The in-demand musician even arranged and conducted his friend Frank Sinatra's second album with Count Basie, It Might As Well Be Swing. The 1964 album included Old Blue Eye's hit song Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon. And we have the best time. It's like being on another.
Oh, Lord. Let me stop that.
Like it's the last one day.
Hey, Hood TMC. Hey, Glitter World.
Brain aneurysms in 1974 that nearly took his life. He recovered and went right.
So again, I don't want to copyright with playing Frank Sinatra's new music, but Quincy Jones has passed at the age of 90.
Breaking news overnight, music titan Quincy Jones has died peacefully in his Los Angeles home, surrounded by his family, his publicist tells NBC News. The musical tenure of the multi-Grammy-winning producer spanned over 7 decades, beginning in the post-swing era. He worked with Michael Jackson, producing his Thriller album. He also collaborated with hundreds of artists, including Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles. Quincy Jones was 91 years old.
Hey, good morning, Glitter World. So, Quincy Jones has passed. Again, wow. They said he passed peacefully at his home. We do know there was a lot of scandals surrounding Quincy Jones too, as being a part of a lot of the bad behavior in Hollywood. Whew. So, let's see. We got another article here. So, we'll never know what really happened. Well, then again, with him passing, maybe we will find out what happened, what Quincy Jones was really about. So, again, that is the breaking news. Quincy Jones has been unalived. So, well, I shouldn't say unalived, but he has passed peacefully. Ooh, this is a lot.
This news story was written by Tim Grieving. Quincy Jones, musical innovator and impresario, dies at 91. The prolific music producer and arranger had an incalculable impact on American popular music, from bebop to hip hop. From bebop to hip hop, Quincy Jones exemplified the producer and arranger as star. He elevated the voices of dozens of entertainers, most indelibly Michael Jackson, but also Frank Sinatra, Paul Simon, and Aretha Franklin, with his unsurpassed artistry in combining jazz, rhythm and blues, and classical orchestration. By the time of his death on Sunday at 91 at his home in the Bel Air section of Los Angeles, he had become a Renaissance impresario of music, film, and television, catapulting the careers of Oprah Winfrey and Will Smith, and smashing barriers for other African Americans. Mr. Jones's death was announced by his publicist, Arnold Robinson, and in a family statement, Mr. Jones's 6-decade career was nothing short of Zelig-like. He brimmed with anecdotes about his encounters with figures from Nazi propagandist Leni Riefenstahl to Sinatra to the rap star Tupac Shakur, who was engaged to one of Mr. Jones's daughters before his murder in 1996. It takes a lot of guts to tell Sinatra what to do, man, Mr. Jones once told the Sunday Telegraph of London. He takes no prisoners, and if you ask him to jump without a net, you better have got it right. He would love you, or roll over you with a truck and then reverse. Starting out as a jazz trumpeter, Mr. Jones was in Seattle in 1947 playing juke joints with Ray Charles. A decade later, he was in Paris studying composition with Nadia Boulanger, mentor to Igor Stravinsky and Aaron Copland. As the first African American to be a senior executive at a major white-owned music label, Mercury Records, he produced Leslie Gore's 1963 hit, It's My Party. The next year, he arranged the jazz-pop mainstay, Fly Me to the Moon for Sinatra and Count Basie. It was Sinatra who bestowed on him his enduring nickname, Q. Mr. Jones helped score films as diverse as In Cold Blood, 1967, an acclaimed drama based on Truman Capote's account of the notorious Clutter family murders in Kansas, and the all-black musical The Wiz, 1978, a major flop. In 1977, he shared an Emmy Award for his score of the TV miniseries Roots, a ratings juggernaut that traced a slave's lineage. In 1979, he ushered the child-singing prodigy Jackson into adulthood by producing the album Off the Wall. 3 years later, he followed up with Thriller, the top-selling pop release of all time. He produced the all-star charity song We Are the World in 1985, a best-selling single that raised $50 million for African famine relief. He co-produced the film The Color Purple, 1985, directed by Steven Spielberg, and handpicked Winfrey, then a rising Chicago-based talk show host, for her breakout dramatic role. In 1990, he produced the NBC sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, composing the theme song and casting the down-on-his-luck rapper Smith in the title role. Mr. Jones produced Bill Clinton's inaugural celebration concert in 1993. Mr. Jones's impact on American popular music was incalculable. He surrounded Jackson's vocals in Baby Be Mine with a funky bass line inspired by John Coltrane's saxophone and, on Beat It, gave the softish high tenor a rock edge with Eddie Van Halen's electric guitar solo. Mr. Jones poured fizzing piano and saxophones around Dinah Washington's voice in I Get a Kick Out of You. His own carefree standard soul bossa nova, memorably punctuated with the laughter of a Brazilian cuica drum, was reclaimed in the late 90s as a camp theme for Austin Powers. He helped shape the recordings of singers as varied as James Ingram, whose The Dude sold more than 1 million copies, Sammy Davis Jr., Barbra Streisand, Helen Merrill, Stevie Wonder, John Legend, Andy Williams, and Sonny Bono. He's Dr. Fix-It, trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie once told People magazine. He knows the sound you've got in you, and he's got the experience and the know-how to get it out. If I knew how he does it, I'd be a millionaire. In the mid-1960s, Mr. Jones became the first African American to score major Hollywood films. He was the first African American to produce the Academy Awards in 1996, with Whoopi Goldberg as host. He founded a media empire that included his record label, Quest Records, a film and TV production company, QDE Entertainment, and the black music magazine Vibe. Mr. Jones received a staggering 27 Grammys out of a record 79 nominations and 7 Oscar nominations. He won the Motion Picture Academy's Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award in 1995 and was a Kennedy Center honoree in 2001. Harvard scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. told Smithsonian Magazine in 2008, "Quincy has a lifeline into the collective consciousness of the American public. It's one thing to find a person who is a brilliant creator and composer. It's another to find a person who is just as brilliant as an entrepreneur." Mr. Jones said he looked for divine intervention and goosebumps in the studio, and he embraced colorful metaphors to explain his arranging. "A lot of the language we use is food-related," Bruce Swedian, Mr. Jones's longtime sound engineer, told the Washington Post in 1996. Q will say things like, "Put a little more garlic salt on the vocal." Mr. Jones's garlic salt was often on the cutting edge of popular taste. He was an early adopter of the synthesizer, fusing electronics and funk into his jazz albums for AANDM Records. He produced Back on the Block, 1989, which featured rising rap star Ice-T. On the track Jazz Corner of the World, Mr. Jones threw a multi-generational party where rappers Kool Moe Dee and Big Daddy Kane were the hype men for a succession of solos by jazz eminences Gillespie, James Moody, Miles Davis, George Benson, and a scatting Ella Fitzgerald in her final recording. Among other Grammys, Back on the Block won for Album of the Year and the inaugural award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo. "Quincy knows how to pull it out of different people," rapper Mel Mel said in Mr. Jones's memoir, Q. "It's tribal. He understands everybody's talking drum. He's the only guy in the world who can do that, who can reach all the way back to Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and connect them to the rappers." By Mr. Jones's telling, Jackson first approached him for advice on a producer for his first solo album. Mr. Jones volunteered his services, to the initial wariness of record executives who considered him too jazzy to work with the pop star. But Off the Wall became a sensation, as did Thriller. Both were assembled in the studio over days without sleep and on the cusp of madness, Mr. Jones's favorite way to work. Their last collaboration, Bad, 1987, took more than a year to make and remained in Mr. Jones's estimation their most polished but least spontaneous work. In 2017, 8 years after Jackson's death from an accidental drug overdose, Mr. Jones won a lawsuit filed against the entertainer's estate and was awarded $9.4 million in damages for unpaid royalties for the use of songs he produced in the posthumous Jackson concert film, This Is It. As he grew older, Mr. Jones was widely regarded as a reigning musical eminence, a link between jazz and hip-hop, a master of commingling styles to forge new ones. Just before bandleader Duke Ellington died in 1974, he gave Mr. Jones a photograph with the inscription, "To Q, who will decategorize American music. Makings of a music mogul." Quincy Delight Jones Jr. was born in Chicago's South Side on March 14, 1933, and grew up in grinding poverty during the Depression. His grandmother trapped and cooked rats when food was scarce. At 7, he saw his mother, musically gifted but emotionally troubled, wrestled into a straitjacket and institutionalized, apparently for schizophrenia. His father, a master carpenter, was on the payroll of a notorious black street gang. "All I saw were dead bodies, Tommy guns, and stogies, and piles of money in back rooms," Mr. Jones told The Guardian. "I had my hand nailed to a fence with a switchblade when I was 7. When you're a kid, you want to be what you see, and I wanted to be a gangster." His father mostly absent, Mr. Jones was raised by a stepmother who showed a distinct preference for her own children and often beat Mr. Jones. "When I was 12, he later recalled, I fought back and knocked the hell out of her, but you can't sit and whine about that. Around that time, his father moved to Washington State for a wartime job at a naval base. With friends, Mr. Jones broke into a local recreation center to steal food and soda. Eventually, I broke into all the supervisors' rooms, and there was one where I saw a little piano in the room, and I closed the door. He later told rapper and record producer Dr. Dre on his Beats One radio show, The Pharmacy. Something said to me, "Idiot, go back in that room." I went back in the room and touched the piano, and every drop of blood in my body said, "This is what you're going to do for the rest of your life." And it saved my life. At his junior high school, he joined the choir and school band, and was quickly recognized as a musical prodigy. Among other instruments, he learned drums, tuba, French horn, and piano, but the trumpet became his forte. Before long, he gained a following in area clubs. The band leader, Basie, who met Mr. Jones during a trip through town, taught him sophisticated arranging techniques. At 15, he was hired to play and arrange in Lionel Hampton's outfit, but the band leader's wife yanked him off the bus as it was about to.
So, Quincy Jones it's gone. That is breaking news. This is April Showers, and I'm out.